So with the Jonathan Majors trial about to start tomorrow, I checked for new headlines and we do have something new from the Rolling Stone. But I have some questions and you guys can see what you think. And if you want some updates as this trial goes on, whether it starts tomorrow or not, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell because I'll continue to cover it. Before we jump into this Rolling Stone article, let's take a look at the case update from The Messenger. They have an exclusive here. This was written by Elizabeth Rosner and Charmaine Patterson. And Meagan Good has been Jonathan Majors' rock as she intends to attend domestic violence trial. So we have confirmation that the trial is scheduled to begin on Wednesday on time. They both flew into New York last night. She's expected to attend the trial. And this article covers from an insider the relationship between Meagan Good and Jonathan Majors, that they're both deeply religious and that they pray before meals. The trial is expected to last 3 weeks. And the Messenger is repeating something we're going to see the Rolling Stones say, in that the judge is expected to make a decision on whether Majors' ex-girlfriend's testimonies will be admitted and unsealed, with about 10 to 20 witnesses testifying. So I will drop a link to this article in the description so you can check it out. If you follow me on X, I've also retweeted it from Elizabeth Rosner if you want to grab it from there. And let's shift and look at what the Rolling Stone is making news out of today. So I'm actually pulling this from a Yahoo News syndication from the Rolling Stone article. It's titled, Jonathan Majors' Domestic Violence Case Includes Ex-Girlfriend's testimony, so plural. And it's by Cheyenne Roundtree and Althea Legaspi. This was published earlier today at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Time. So we've got our context here. So if you're just catching up to the case, here's a summary. Jonathan Majors' criminal domestic violence trial is set to start on Wednesday, when a judge is expected to determine if the Marvel star's ex-girlfriend's testimonies of alleged physical and/or emotional abuse will be unsealed and admitted to court, Rolling Stone has learned. Majors was arrested in New York in March on misdemeanor charges of assault, attempted assault, and harassment, and strangulation, but remember they dropped that charge, for allegedly hitting and pushing his then-girlfriend into a car during a fight. In parentheses, we have Rolling Stone is choosing not to name the woman as the district attorney's office considers her to be a victim. Majors has denied the allegations and has claimed the woman attacked him. As part of the prosecutor's case, other women's testimonies about their alleged abusive relationships with Majors have been prepared as Molineaux evidence, a legal term that provides a pathway for prosecutors to use prior events to help prove that a defendant's conduct is inextricably interwoven with the charged acts. Their testimonies are currently under seal. Prosecutors noted in a 115-page motion in October, which we heard a lot of buzz about, but only through outlets like Rolling Stone and Variety interpreting it and relaying certain bits and pieces from it. There's been a few breadcrumbs from it. I don't know, maybe like 4, 5, 6. So there's a lot that we as the public are not able to see or be aware of at this time. And remember, this was in response to the 26-page letter that Priya Chaudhry and the rest of Jonathan Majors' defense team filed a month prior. Prosecutors noted in a 115-page motion in October that it had alerted Majors' team about the Molineaux application, which included a list of the defendant's misconduct and criminal acts that are not charged in the criminal complaint, but that the people intend to introduce at trial in their case. A spokesperson for the DA's office declined to comment. Majors' attorney Priya Chaudhry did not return Rolling Stone's request for comment. So there's no response on the second part, but the DA's office declined to comment. The package is believed to also include prior physical encounters between Majors and the woman at the center of the case, so Grace Jabbari. Court documents show prosecutors obtained a police report, and we heard the buzz about that in regards to that 150-page document. All of the stuff came out on the eve of the last court date in London that resulted in the woman receiving medical care. Earlier this month, London's Metropolitan Police confirmed to Rolling Stone that there is an ongoing investigation into the incident that included allegations of physical assaults. And they link to another Cheyenne Roundtree reporting from November 1st. But when you look at that link, there's a bunch of text in the article, but this is the quote. Inquiries are ongoing, no arrests have been made. And then the rest of the article is either about the Manhattan incident or what's going on with Loki. But back to today's article. In June, Rolling Stone reported that Majors physically and/or emotionally abused two previous romantic partners, according to a dozen sources who knew the women. So not the partners themselves. And you might remember there was this article, it was this picture, it was all over social media. It was June 29th is when it came out. It's the same two authors that are writing this article that we're reading now. Majors allegedly strangled one woman he was dating and was mentally and emotionally abusive with her, 9 of those sources claim. The second woman allegedly told friends that her relationship with Majors was emotional torture, and there were moments of near violence where he would get filled with rage and hit something or punch a wall. Variety previously reported that some of Major's former romantic partners who were allegedly abused by him were cooperating with the DA's case. Majors denied that he was ever abusive in any relationships. The bar to allow Molineaux evidence into court is extremely high because of its potential prejudicial impact and claims that have often not been prosecuted. However, Molineux evidence was recently allowed into court during Harvey Weinstein's criminal trial in New York. 3 women who were not part of prosecutor's case were allowed to testify about their experiences with the disgraced producer to show a similar pattern of behavior. But I want to be clear that when they're comparing this to the Harvey Weinstein trial, each of these 3 women alleged that Weinstein had sexually assaulted them. It was able to come in as Molineux evidence, but it was something that they were firsthand witnesses to. They were the victims of it. They were the ones that experienced it. And that doesn't seem to parallel what Rolling Stone is describing here or in their June 29th expose of where they were getting these statements from. Majors faces up to a year in jail if convicted on the charges, and the future of his career hangs in limbo. The theatrical release of his buzzworthy performance as a lone bodybuilder who has violent fantasies and magazine dreams has been postponed indefinitely, and Marvel's Avengers: The Kang Dynasty has lost its director, Destin Daniel Cretton. And I just want to highlight that the interlinked link for the one about Kang Dynasty director leaving, it was by Cheyenne Roundtree, it was for the Rolling Stone, and she's tying his departure to Jonathan Majors' place and if he'll remain in the MCU following his arrest. So just think about that positioning. You can make your own observations, you can have your own perceptions of it, but Cheyenne Roundtree never seems to miss an opportunity to link back to herself as her own substantiation. So her perspectives just seem continuously built on something she said before, but it'll always be presented here as just a report, not something that she's said before. Anyway, it's been 8 months since Majors was arrested on March 25th, following a fight over his cell phone after his then-girlfriend allegedly saw the actor receive a text that read along the lines of, "Wish I was kissing you right now." The two had been traveling in a car together when the woman went to grab his phone, and Majors allegedly twisted her arm and struck her, according to her police complaint. Majors exited the car, and when his girlfriend tried to follow him, he allegedly grabbed her, picked her up, and then threw her back inside. The woman sustained substantial pain, including a fractured finger, bruising about her body, a laceration behind her right ear, and a bump on her head, according to prosecutors. Majors was arrested after he returned home the following morning to allegedly find the woman unresponsive and called police. Through his attorney, Priya Chaudhry, Majors has vehemently denied the charges. It was Majors who was attacked that night, Chaudhry claimed, further blasting the DA's case against the actor as a witch hunt. Chaudhry has pointed to leaked surveillance footage of the fight's aftermath as purported evidence of Majors' innocence. In June, Majors filed his own counter-police report against the woman. However, prosecutors declined to pursue charges against the woman, closing and sealing the case after she voluntarily reported to a police station to receive an appearance ticket. A thorough investigation was conducted into the facts of this case, and in doing so, the people have chosen to prosecute Jonathan Majors, the court documents state. And so far, we've got one comment on this article from Fred, who says, "Tough guy is going to jail. Women will be safer with this punk in prison." And so that's the article there. Now, if you want some really great insight, Natalie Lawyer Chick broke down exactly why a prosecutor might not want to charge 2 opposing parties for one alleged incident. I will link to this. It's a 2-hour talk. We go over some of the evidence that Priya Chaudhry says proves Jonathan Majors' innocence. And we get to see Natalie Lawyer Chick react in real time as a criminal defense attorney to a first look at the video surveillance. So it's a great 2-hour interview. I'll link to it. I'll throw a card up, but you should check that out. If you hop over to my channel, I also have a playlist here with the breakdown of the motion to dismiss, some of the surveillance footage, what's publicly known. Also, that back and forth that happened with Grace Jabbari's arrest, how there was supposed to be an iCard, and then the iCard was said not to exist, and then it did exist, and then she got arrested, but she was promised that the charges would be dropped before she voluntarily appeared. And her lawyer gave a statement as soon as she walked out of the precinct, saying and reiterating that he knew the charges would be dropped immediately. So if you want to take a dive back through that, there's 5 videos here that roll it all up into one. And then if you are on X or Twitter, I know not everybody is, but there's a lot of great information being crowdsourced on Twitter. Flavio has been in the mix. You can follow him over at Flavio, M as in Mary, C as in cat, but not with a K, Sousa 1. Also a great awareness of other trials happening in the Manhattan district with DA Bragg. And then also Babette, but her @ is Blabette with an L and then an underscore at the end. She's been compiling, all the details that are out there that, my scratch pad is kind of a mess, but I I try to gather resources together, but it can be hard for other people to digest. It's like how a doctor writes prescription notes, right? But Babette or Blabette, if you look for the at handle, has been taking the events, putting timestamps on them, putting everything in an order that's really easy to digest, putting all the pictures together with notes on where and when they are happening so you can grasp the picture, the story, the timeline of the alleged incident and how things went down. If you don't always get on YouTube or if you're always looking for more information, those are two accounts on X, Twitter, that have really been weaving the details together. If you're interested in talking about this case, jump in the comments here, share your thoughts. Do you think the trial's going to move forward tomorrow? Do you think it's going to be delayed? Do you think this packet of Molineux evidence is going to come in? Do you think it's comparable to the Harvey Weinstein, the three people that came in with firsthand experiences of abuse from Harvey Weinstein? Do you think that's the same as someone saying they heard something about what someone else may have experienced with Jonathan Majors? And do you think that the Rolling Stones said anything new here, or do you think that they're circling back to their own reporting without much to go on? My opinion on these things is probably pretty clear at this point. I will always say I'm not unbiased, but I'm always willing to hear other perspectives and learn when there's new information. So that's why I'm here. I don't expect you to agree with me, but I would love your participation. So anything that's on your mind, feel free to drop it in the comments there. If you do want to get an update whether this case moves forward tomorrow, if there's another delay, make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell button on the way out. And until next time, you guys take care.